So my project was making Simon, but using a breadboard and a Raspberry Pi. To do this, I had variables that assigned each of these lights and this 7-segment display, since it's just 7 LEDs, to different just pin numbers, as well as these buttons that also go to different corresponding pins. And then I had Python run the whole brains of the operation, such as in getButtonPress, which, while this variable is true, it goes for button num in buttonnums.item, which this loop here will just continuously run until a button is pressed, and then it will tell you what button is pressed. So for here, you can see that it waits, and if I press the red button, it goes down a difficulty. If I press blue, it goes up a difficulty. This is the most integral part of my code, and it was also something that gave me a lot of trouble early on. But worked it out, debounced the buttons and everything, because they would register multiple inputs. And then I started making startup, which is the entire difficulty selection, mode selection, so on and so forth. And then game takes the instructions set by startup and makes a game with those following rules. The buzzer here has its own little function called make note, which is all the way down at the bottom, which uses some physics equations to get the note length and the frequency and everything, and then starts buzzing at that pitch. Anyway, I've overcomplicated my explanation, so now I'm just going to play a quick game. But I'm going to go to hyperspeed.
Raspberry Pi in order to use the buttons to change the color of C. And also, we would have to turn on a light that would
I'm going to intentionally lose to show off what happens when you lose. It says you lose right there. And then in the actual terminal on the Raspberry Pi, it tells you what length you got to and that you lost. Now if I start it over, but I'm going to go to difficulty 1. You win. And then it does a little bit of a light show, not very spectacular, and it also tells you that you won. Using this, I could also make a text document, and it writes that you won and what difficulty you got to. And using that text document, I could actually make a little display up on the screen that tells you your average score, how many games you've played, so on and so forth. But I did not implement that yet because I am lazy. Anyway, that's my project.